Hey, good afternoon, everyone. This is Clayton Collins. I am the president and CEO of HousingWire. We're coming to you live from Dallas, Texas. So I guess good morning to our folks on the West Coast. This is our second interview of the day for National Mortgage Brokers Day, which AIME has so graciously hosted and helped organize. So thrilled to have their support and take part of this today. Here are the few awesome guests. First, Marc Summers, president of AIME. Welcome back, Marc.
Thanks. Having a blast already. It's a great day.
Awesome. And in our guest of honor today, the team from NXT Mortgage, based right here in Texas. We have Karrie Tucker. Excuse me, voice crack there. Karrie Tucker and Tyler Hodgson. Tyler, Karrie, welcome. Thrilled to have you today.
Yeah, no, thanks so much for having us here.
Yeah,
it's an honor.
So Tyler, you are based here in Dallas, correct?
Yes.
And Karrie, you're coming in from a little further away.
Yes, Waco.
Waco. Okay, awesome. So you guys have most of kind of north central Texas covered in this one.
Yeah.
Yeah, we just need to get down to Houston, San Antonio, and El Paso. Texas is big.
It's a big market, not a bad place to do business.
Right.
All right, awesome. So today we really want to get into the stories of a lot of the originators and brokers that we're inviting in. So I'd love to kind of get started with Tyler. Kind of tell us about your role at NXT and the path that brought you to founding the organization.
Yeah, so founded NXT in December of 2016, and prior to that, I was working for another small mini correspondent lender. I stumbled into that position through my accounting background. So I went to college at University of North Texas, majored in accounting and finance, and got my degree there. I was actually looking for a mortgage for my own personal VA loan, veteran, and met with a similar mortgage loan officer and talked to her and was trying to get qualified, but I couldn't qualify at the time because I was in college still. And so she offered me a job doing accounting and helping with admin type work. And so didn't ever picture myself in the mortgage industry necessarily. Always thought I'd be doing accounting stuff. And I actually met Karrie at that same company, and Karrie and I worked together. She was a loan officer at the time, and I was doing accounting. She kept trying to convince me to get my mortgage license. She said, you should do it. You'd be really good. You're a great person. You're personable. And I'm like, no, I'm not a salesperson. I'm not going to be cold calling and door knocking. I'm an accountant. I go behind the desk and do numbers.
But I sat next to him, so I kept hounding him.
So she kept hounding me, and then after a little while, I decided, okay, I'll get my license. I'm a young guy. I'm going to have friends and family purchasing homes, and I'm familiar with it, so I can help them get in a home and get a mortgage. So I got my license, and I had it for a short time there at that company.
Okay.
And then just really felt the passion and the drive to go start my own thing. Just have always been very independent, entrepreneurial, and wanted to do that. So that's when I started NXT Mortgage in December of 2016, and started that journey of being a broker, and that's why we're here celebrating National Mortgage Broker Day.
Yeah.
Very cool. So kind of going back to your introduction to mortgage at the Mini Corps, you got your license there. Did you originate in that role, and how long did you originate for?
Yeah, so I originated there. My license I got at the beginning of 2016.
Okay.
So I was there just about a year, and I'd done about a dozen loans in that time. Originating
Did you
myself.
still have the account? Did you still have to do the accounting responsibility?
Yes,
on top of
yeah.
that?
So I was doing the accounting job. And then
we all wear multiple hats.
and
they have to.
And
welcome to the
mortgage
mortgage industry and the media industry. Yeah.
Right. So yeah, doing every little thing, and then I went to the broker model, and then I was really doing every little thing. Right. You're doing the accounting and the marketing and and originating. So yeah, I only had about a dozen loans under my belt, which is a rookie when I went out and started my own brokerage and just, hey, we'll figure it out.
So to me, that sounds like incredibly intimidating to go from like a place in your career where you've done a dozen loans to saying, all right, I'm ready to do this on my own. Mm-hmm. Was that intimidating for you, or were you kind of at a stage in your professional career where you're like, I know enough to do the job, but don't know enough to be scared? Like, were you scared at all going out on your own, or what gave you the confidence to say, hey, this is the time, and NXT, here I come?
Yeah, I don't know. I just wasn't really that intimidated by it.
Okay.
I figured, hey, I'll figure it out as I go. Like everything in my life so far is always kind of just figure it out as you go, and you learn along the way. So I just knew that I would get the answers, and I'd be able to have the support and find the people to give me answers along the way.
Did you have any mentors or resources or friends, colleagues, anybody that was like helping guide you toward like the steps necessary to start your own brokerage shop?
Being in college, I had some professors and stuff kind of on the business and accounting side. I had that background, so that helped me as far as starting a business. On the loan side, I had a couple account executives that we had worked with the mini core lenders who sort of helped me transition into the broker model and helped me get set up with them. So I'd come to them with a lot of questions. So a handful of people, plus just kind of my network of friends and family, obviously.
Well, that's the one thing I love about AIME, because I think that's what our association has done, is we've been a resource for people, and there has never been that resource.
I wish
before.
AIME was around
Perfect.
3 years ago. That would have been great.
I mean, we don't have the answer to everything, but we know how to get answers, and just the support that us and our members try to give is, I think that's what's going to take our business to the next level. So,
yeah.
But so let's say we go back 2 to 3 years when you first started your shop. What do you wish you knew then that you know now?
I wish AIME was around. I just said
Good
that.
answer. Good answer. Besides that, you're starting your own.
If AIME was around, it would have been a lot
Yeah.
easier.
Yeah.
I wish I knew everything I knew today then, right? No, I like the way everything played out. I enjoyed the process of learning and doing that stuff, and so just having a real well-rounded kind of business background along with the loan side and understanding the origination piece, but understanding that you've got to do the marketing and the accounting, like running payroll, setting up payroll the first time, setting up a business, all those little things that go into that admin and compliance type stuff. There's just so much to know and learn. Social media and marketing,
Right.
delivering content.
It's not just writing
How do you
loans.
do that kind of
It's not
stuff?
just writing loans.
Right. So
more to it.
there's a lot of extra stuff to it when you're going that route by yourself.
Yeah.
So on that lead of going back 2 or 3 years, tell me about like the first month. Like what did you were you on your own? Did you have any support? Did you what did those days look like? What did those days, nights, and weekends look like?
It took a couple months just for the license to get approved, the company license and transferred and all that stuff. So that was slow coming, and in that time I was doing a lot of just building the company stuff and building the brand stuff. But always staying busy, always kind of had a plan of going forward in the vision. First few months were pretty slow, just trying to get any loans that I could. So that would have been in 2017 now, and so 2017 was pretty slow and really started to ramp up near the end of 2017. I think I finally started to get more of that confidence and knew what I was doing with my processes, and had more confidence in that, and a lot of my clients and realtor partners started referring me out more and seeing the good work that I was doing at NXT and how that was different from previous position at a mini core, or even other lenders out there, and how it could be different to really provide that value to where they wanted to refer us.
Okay.
So
Cool. So Karrie, when did you come into the picture?
Well, Tyler forgot to mention in his downtime in 2017, he was blowing my phone up, hounding me to come out there.
So you were that friend and mentor.
It's all coming together.
Well, he was, I completely believed in Tyler and knew the kind of person he was, and we were great friends and everything, but I was kind of going through some other changes in my life, so I'm like, I don't know if I can handle change. I'm one of those that are not good with tons of change at one time, but Tyler had asked me to come over, and I said, let me think about it, and he's like, okay, what's your excuse today? And so he just really reassured me about NXT and his vision and for the company and where he wanted to take the company, and just giving back to the community and different things like that. And I started listening to him and loved everything about it, and finally said, okay, here I come.
So were you the first team member to join after Tyler, or were there other people on the team at that time? And what's kind of the makeup of the team today?
Well, there was Tyler and Jason as the vice president of the company.
Okay.
And so I had sat down with them along with some of the board of directors that Tyler has set up, and they just kind of told me everything, and I was like, gave me an offer, and I have not looked back since.
Love it.
Very happy about my decision.
That's excellent.
So, I'm a current mortgage broker as well, and, brokers most of them are always looking to recruit. What's the one thing that made you go back? Because jumping ship is kind of tough, switching companies. So,
It is.
can you pinpoint one thing that maybe, our audience would say, oh, I never thought of it that way, or what made you go to Tyler?
Well, really, really two major things. One, Tyler, because I know him as a person, and I felt like he would be a great leader, but also really the vision of NXT too. We give back to the community. We are all about the clients and helping people get into homes, and it's not, like our shirts say, it's not just about the profits. And I really like that. Like Tyler and I both have that kind of mindset anyway, just as a person. And so I have worked for several different mortgage companies over the course of my career, and I just felt like it was a great place for me to be, personally.
Well, I think you hit the nail on the head, because one thing that I preach a ton is it's not about the money.
Right.
If you put the consumer first, everything else falls into place. And I'm a big believer in that, and I think that's why this is going on right now.
Right. Yeah.
That was one thing that came out of our last conversation with the Hernandez family. I mean, Christian and Kubi both talked about the service and putting the client first as one of their major priorities, and it sounds like that's coming up again in this conversation. How have you, and maybe Tyler, you can answer this, I'd love to hear your perspective too, Karrie, how have you structured NXT to make sure that the borrower, the client, can continually be prioritized and keep that service level extremely high? Thank you, folks, for who stayed with us. A little technical difficulty. Mark asked me to start us off, which I think is his way of shifting the accountability to me for the systems going down. But apparently, the technology behind live video is still hard, but not perfect yet. But hey, that's all right. So hopefully, we have everybody that was with us for the last 15, 20 minutes. Speaking with Tyler and Karrie from NXT. We're going to jump right back into the conversation where we dropped off. Have a few great questions and topics we're going to talk about in the next 10, 15, 20 minutes, so long it goes. But we were just talking about how Tyler has structured NXT to continually prioritize customer service and the customer experience into the lending process. So, Tyler, I'll let you jump back into where you were and talking about the structure and how you build NXT to continually prioritize that priority of customer service and tied with your mission.
Yeah, so we were talking about one of the big differentiators being a broker. I feel like there's a lot more of that one-on-one customer service, and you're very, very much, like you said, prioritizing the customer. At NXT, we kind of took that to a different level, where historically a lot of mortgage companies have the assistant, the processor, the closer, and all these different individuals touching the file, and that's what it is. It's just a file, versus being a client, a consumer, a person, a friend, or a family member. So you'd have your processor reaching out to the client. The client's like, who's Mark? Why is Mark calling me? I thought I was working with Tyler.
Coaching his clients?
Who's this Karrie girl? Yeah,
I didn't know. I haven't got paid anything.
I got you a better rate.
That's what this is about.
Who's this Karrie girl calling me? And a lot of loss of communication between the loan officer, the processor, the client. The client gave me this, they gave them that, and it's can be very confusing for the client and just not as smooth of a process. So I found it smoothed out my process a lot when I went to be a broker by myself. It was only me. So I didn't have a processor. I didn't have anybody else. Maybe that would have been nice.
Pick up the phone to call a processor, like, oh crap.
I didn't have anybody else, so I was always communicating with the clients. But I found that the clients were very satisfied with that. They liked that a lot. So now our structure's set up where we do have admin staff, processors, transaction coordinators who handle a lot of the back office stuff. But our loan officers, our brokers, talk directly to the consumers anytime they need something. It's your client. You're building that referral relationship with that client, and so that's really helped a lot with me. I feel like getting a lot more past client referrals and providing just higher quality of service for those clients, and they're really happy with the whole process. It seems smoother, simpler, allows us to close faster. Along with being a broker, just able to really streamline the process. So.
Absolutely.
All right, excellent. So in our first segment, you mentioned your mission statement, which we see on both of your shirts here: progress over profits. in terms of like bringing that mission into your culture, what did you from day one or from year one or year two? Like I'm sure it's evolved a little bit. How have you worked to keep that mission of progress over profits into your daily operations and kind of instill that belief in each new team member that joins you, whether they're an originator or you're a vice president or a loan officer assistant?
Well, I mean, first I wanted to make a really cool tongue twister.
Okay. Yeah. Progress over profits. Progress over profits. Progress over profits.
Sometimes I still say profits over progress. No, that's not right. So yeah, I mean, it kind of started out when I first started the company, and as Karrie mentioned, vice president, co-founder Jason, we were roommates at the time, and when I went out to start my own business, he wanted to be a part of that.
Was he in the industry, or was he an entrepreneur?
He was not in the industry, so he has a background in technical sales, technology, and also like app development and website design. So he's helped with a lot of the branding and building of things on that side, product development. So brought Jason on board, and Karrie also mentioned we started a board of directors early. Like, I'm a small company. How many small companies have a board of directors? But it's really meant to be more advisors to hold me accountable, because a lot of times when someone starts their own business or self-employed, it just becomes about making the extra dollar. You
get blinders on a lot.
Coming to them, right?
So like I have a board, but they're investors in our business.
Right.
So is your board, did you take any outside capital, or are these people in the community, maybe realtors, referral sources? Like, how did you think about constructing that board to be of value to the business you're building?
Yeah, so no outside investors, but they were, one was my father, and then a couple people, industries, kind of mentors, like we talked about earlier, the group of people who helped me kind of start the business. They're on the board, so 2 other self-employed business owners.
Got it.
Different industries, one a financial advisor and one in the window cleaning and
home services.
Building cleaning, home services, right?
So
they were a part of the initial board, and that was meant to just kind of be an advisory board to help mentor me and make me not, so that it wouldn't always be about me. Like I always wanted the company to be about building the company, about the team and the culture there, as well as the company serving its clientele. So I also briefly alluded to the fact that I'm a veteran earlier in the video when I said talking about VA loans, but I served in the Marines for 4 years, and have been involved in some veterans organizations. And what I wanted to do with the company is find a way to give back to veterans. And so I was like, I want to be able to donate to veterans organizations, support these organizations. That's how I got in the mortgage industry anyways, was through one of those organizations. So that's when I came up with the idea for this Progress Over Profits initiative, where we wanted to donate back to veterans organizations. But then Jason and I talked about it. We took it one step further and said, you may not care about veterans organizations, something else might be more important to you for giving back. So we actually allow our clients to choose an organization, and any 501c3 not-for-profit organization, and when we close your loan, we donate 10% of our profits from that loan to the organization on your behalf.
Wow.
So anything that
That's
you're
amazing.
passionate about, AIME, I'm pretty sure AIME is probably a not-for-profit organization. If I did a loan for another broker and they were super passionate about supporting AIME, we would donate back to AIME for that. So that's one way we put our money where our mouth is, right? And really take the action to have that culture at the bottom of our company, so that way our entire team kind of has that feel, and they know, like, we're giving money back, we're supporting these organizations, our community, and our clients. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, one, thank you for your service, and two,
Of course.
what you guys are doing is commendable. And this is why I love this day, Happy National Mortgage Brokers Day, because these are the stories that we need to get out.
Right.
Right.
I mean, the fact that you wrote 12 loans and your partner comes in and doesn't even have a mortgage background industry,
Right.
but you guys are ultra successful right now. I mean, this is why I love this industry.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Karrie, you're not based here at HQ with Tyler. So you're 100 miles about south in Waco.
Yes.
So how does that culture kind of how does that culture translate to you, being remote and not in the office every day? Do you share those values? Do you think about progress over profit?
Absolutely. And it's nice because being in a different town, I can help with giving back to those areas as well. They may have other organizations out there that are different than here. So that's been, the realtors love it too. They love hearing about different things about giving back to the community, and they can even join us and be a part of it. We're having the North Texas Giving Day. We get together for that, and NXT kind of gets together, and we invite our referral partners and stuff like that out to that with us as well, and everybody gives back to that.
That's awesome. So before we started the interview, you and I were talking, and I thought one of the things that I found really fascinating is that your business is not just concentrated in the Waco area. You're doing
Right.
business for borrowers across North Texas, potentially other regions. I'd love to just hear kind of the 10,000 foot view of your process, because I've seen so many different lender models, many of which start with that across the desk, in-person experience. So I'd love just to hear what your experience looks like working with your borrowers, and how do you make that work for you and them?
So I have just, over the years, because I've been doing this since 2003, so I've just built friendships basically with realtors, with clients. I mean, a lot of my business comes from referrals from past clients. That was almost a tongue twister too. And from just realtors that I have met over the years that have done business with me, and especially since I've come on board with NXT, because they kind of see how our process works. Like Tyler was saying about from beginning to close, that's been a huge thing. That really has, because they don't feel like they just call someone and they're a dark hole. Everyone has my cell phone number, so they text. Nowadays with technology, people want to text you or FaceTime you or call you or whatever, and they can get a hold of me anytime. So that's really helped a lot, with.
So even though they're not coming to your office and sitting down and you're flipping paper, that relationship's still there, that availability might even be higher than the 8 to 5 kind of office hours.
What's interesting about that is I really do feel like it is higher, because they can get a hold of me anytime they want, and yeah.
Is that good for
yeah,
you?
Right. Wait a minute. like any time.
I actually had
Some people push the boundaries there.
Yeah, I've had a couple of people text me at 3 a.m, and I'm like, I do sleep sometimes. I try to get a few.
But my house.
Yeah.
My clients, probably the realtors that's texting you at 3 is.
No, it's usually the clients,
the
the realtors.
borrower?
They
Okay.
kind of have boundaries already,
Yeah.
so they're used to that. But no, I don't know. It's easy to be in contact nowadays, and I drive everywhere. Obviously, I drove here today, so.
Yep.
And you can also use video. I use video quite a
Yeah.
bit for, just that little personal touch, so they know who they're talking with on the other side of the phone. Because
Absolutely.
in our day and age right now, not a lot of people want to come in.
They
You know what I
don't.
mean?
Yeah.
And if you do, hey, the doors is open.
Right.
But
Well, and I've actually driven to people's houses before and met them, or Starbucks or wherever, I usually just do what works for them.
absolutely.
Yeah.
All right, so I have one more question. I don't know if Mark, you have anything else you want to hit on, but Tyler, I think a lot of the mortgage professionals, originators from different channels, brokers tuning in today, many of them have been in the industry for 10, 20, 30 years. Many are just getting started, and I think it's really interesting at the point you're at, 2.5, 3 years in of running your own brokerage shop. I'd love to know kind of two things. What's one piece of advice you'd have to somebody considering becoming a mortgage originator, and then also what's next for NXT? What's your goal? You're 2.5 years in. Where will this business be in 3-5 years? So you can kind of start with your one piece of advice and then where you're headed. I think that'd be a pretty amazing way to wrap up and make sure that all of our listeners and everyone watching on Facebook Live today kind of have something they can take away and say, all right, I'm going to apply that to my business.
Yeah. One of my kind of personal sayings or mantras is the best way to lead is to listen. And so it's all about just listening. I think if you're a mortgage broker, you're really a leader. Whether you have a huge team of 100 loan officers or just yourself individually, you're a leader within your community. You're self-employed. You're out there kind of grinding and hustling every day. So you're listening to your consumers. You're listening to your referral partners. And if you're listening and being proactive in how you're maintaining those relationships, then you'll be successful. And so always listening to people. With me, with my team, it's about listening. Karrie is awesome. She's our chief people officer. So she's great at building that culture, like you mentioned. She's remote, but we do little things like like videos and send gift cards and stuff to the team. And when we do get together for team events, I feel so much closer to our team that a lot of us are remote than I had in previous jobs, 9 to 5, working in the office next to someone all the time you never see. We've got group chats and we send memes and all that fun stuff. So yeah, I mean, really it's just about listening, being a leader. Even if you're an individual, you can still be a leader in this industry and with your own individual company.
So your piece of advice for lenders starting out today or running their own businesses is the heavy focus on the people and heavy focus on culture. It doesn't matter if you guys share a cube wall or an office wall or if you're 100 miles away.
And
still get it done.
Yeah, you don't even have to have done any loans before. You can do a dozen loans and still do it and be successful at it if you, so focusing on those things I think is important.
And then where are you headed? What's next for NXT?
I don't know. When y'all interview us 2 or 3 years from now, it could be a whole different story. We'll see. But the culture will be the same. The vision will be the same. We kind of chatted about it earlier. From the beginning, when I started the company, is that vision of I'm so limited in what I can do individually. I could do 5 loans a month, 10 loans a month, 15 loans a month, but at some point my time caps out. And so that's why I've always wanted to build a team, add other loan originators so they could experience this broker world and see. I mean, I love it. I'm way happier being a broker than I was as an originator and even a mini correspondent model, which is pretty close to being a broker. So I want to afford that opportunity to other loan originators and people who aren't even originators yet. We've taken on a lot of new people who are just fresh to the industry. They've done 0 loans. They know nothing about mortgage, just like I was a couple of years ago. But if you find the right people, they'll be successful.
Background, or like what's the background that works for that profile?
Teachers. We've got like 2 teachers.
We have 2 teachers. One of them is a past customer of mine. They love their process so much with doing a loan with me that they decided they wanted to be a loan officer.
Yeah, I think the best 5-star review is your customer saying, "I want to do what you do."
That's a good one.
That should be worth more than just a standard Google review.
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
2 of my family members have joined our team.
Sister-in-laws.
Yeah.
It's contagious.
We're getting back on this theme of family business.
I know.
We started with the Mares crew.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, and a lot of that was people wanting to be able to have just a better quality of life, being home with their families and, just having that flexibility. And I think, I know for my sister-in-laws, they had seen how that was for my life. I could still be there for my kids, and they wanted that too. So
yeah,
it's great.
Yeah, the flexibility is great. I mean, you make great income doing good work. Like helping people buy homes is typically fun. Sometimes a little stressful. Pull your hair out, but so being able to afford that opportunity.
You seem to be doing a good job keeping it right now.
Yeah, well, I'm still young. A couple more years of this. Like I said, 2 to 3 years from now, we'll see.
That's the schedule the interview.
2022. I'll have a toupee on.
Or he'll be coloring it like I do. The grays.
That vision to kind of grow the team, have more loan officers, allow them to be a part of this, as well as just be able to serve more clients and spread the broker community, be able to give our clients just better value, better loans, better process. So that's kind of the long-term goal, is to just keep growing until we feel like we're comfortable where we are. But I'm a go-getter and a hustler. I always want to do better and help more, and so I think I'll just always keep working.
Excellent.
It's great.
All right. Well, thank you all for tuning in. We'll be back in a couple hours, or actually not even that, probably a couple minutes for the. I'm getting waving from the background. So Liam's saying, no, we're going live again right now. So stay tuned. We'll be right back. Thank you.